think I've got everything. I think. Let's get into it. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Emily Knits channel. My name is Emily. I am a knitter, crocheter and Tunisian crocheter now, in my mid-30s, based in the north of Nottinghamshire in the UK, where I live with my other half and my 2 dogs close to Sherwood Forest. That was, I had to just, you know when you've just got to, when somebody says what's your postcode and you've just got to say it, and if you think about it, it goes wrong. That's what happened with my intro there. I'm back. It's been a little while. And this feels a bit strange. But I'm really glad to be back. I've got a podcast for you today. Have I got some updates to give you? Yeah, they're a little bit. I want to give a little bit of an update as to where I've been and why it's been so long. So we'll do that and then we'll jump into it properly. I've got a fair amount of stuff to talk about today. I have a finished object, a half finished object, and I think all new whips that you haven't seen before. I can't actually remember. Because I think it's been about a month since I've done a podcast, probably actually a little bit longer than that. So there is a lot to update you on. But yeah, let's not waffle, let's just get into it. So before I forget, I always forget, you can find me on Instagram, Ravelry, YouTube, Ko-fi and email, all of which are down in the description box below, along with I tend to usually put Ravelry links to any patterns that I talk about or any designers that I talk about. If I miss anything, if you've got any questions, you can reach out. Podcast episode today, a lot of stuff to talk about, and I feel like I'm out of practice as well, so we'll get into it. I have a drink today. Don't judge me. I have a guilty pleasure energy drink today. I try not to have these too much, especially the sugary ones, but I'm going to explain why I've been and where I've been. In fact, I'll do that at the end, because if you don't want a life update, you don't need to have to stay around. Oh my word. If you don't want a life update, you can then just leave it, at the end you can jump off. So yeah, we'll get into it. Okay, so finished object. So first and foremost, finished object and what I'm wearing, which is my Minerva tee. This one you have seen. So I was working on this last time I podcasted, and I finished this not long after, and I haven't worn it very much, but we'll talk about it. So this is, let me see if I can, yeah, there you go. This is the Minerva tee by Knitting for Breakfast, which is an absolutely beautiful, in fact I think it's the Minerva top. I'll put the details on screen and down below. Absolutely beautiful top down circular yoked top with this lovely lace pattern. Just plain, I think it's plain or twisted rib at the bottom. Twisted rib at the bottom, 3/4 length sleeves, and around the sort of neckline and the cuffs you've just got this sort of garter stitch edge without ribbing. Let me properly, I had got myself up on the sofa so you could see, but I think actually you can see just as well from here. So like I said, top down circular yoke with this lovely lace pattern. I had a lot of fun knitting this. This was a test knit for Knitting for Breakfast, but it's now out, so you can go and get it. The recommended yarn for the pattern is a lace weight and a lace weight held together. So it's a lace weight, I think linen, if I remember rightly, held with a lace weight alpaca or mohair, something like that, fluffy. And I had originally started, and it's at quite a big gauge, it's on something like 4.5mm needles, and it's a 19 stitch gauge, so it is like a DK weight gauge. Yeah, DK weight gauge. And actually a bit of a loose DK weight gauge. Pepper, come on. Come here. You're going to be my thumbnail. Oh, look at this pathetic animal. Have you ever seen anything quite so pathetic? He's been feeling a little bit sorry for himself the last couple of days. He's got a bit of a bad tummy, so I'm quite liking having push on me. Do you want to go on the sofa? There you go. Yeah. Lace weight, I think linen plus something fluffy, but at a DK weight gauge, so quite a loose gauge. And I'll pop up a picture on screen of what their sample looks like, because it does give quite a different feeling. You can just see him just peering out the corner. Okay, you stay there, sleep on my knitting, that's fine. And I had originally started with a fingering weight plus mohair, and I do think it would look really nice in this. It would look really nice in a fingering weight plus mohair as like a winter version. I would make a couple of changes to it, but I knit mine in, we'll talk about that. I knit mine in Drops Bell in the shade Teal, Petrol, I think it's called Petrol. and I'll pop on screen how much it used, because it was quite yarn effective. That's not the way. It didn't use massive amounts of yarn, and drop spell is not a super expensive yarn, so this was actually very inexpensive tea, and really, really fun to knit. I had started knitting it, like I say, in one strand of fingering weight plus mohair, and I wasn't not happy with it, but I wanted it to be a summer tea. And then somebody else in the test knit shared their version that they were knitting in drop spell in a different colour, and the stitch definition and everything was just absolutely gorgeous. And I had this petrol colour in my stash in this drop spell, and drop spell is one of my favourite summer yarns. So I decided to scrap that, frog it, and start again with this. So I'm so glad I did. The colour is absolutely gorgeous. My thoughts on it are really, really fun to knit. Very size inclusive pattern and a very nice fit. So basically you start at the top, you don't do any net ribbon or anything like that. You do a few rows of stockinette. It does have some short rows, so the back sits a little bit higher. And then essentially you are straight into working the lace, and the lace is really engaging, and you can see that the lace goes quite a long way down actually. It comes all the way down to here on my sleeve and down to, you know, basically full bust. And it is lace and cables. I don't know if you can see that, if that's showing up. You can there, look, you can see these cables, these sort of lightning cables going down. And then basically once you do that, you knit a few rounds straight, you split for sleeves, and then you are straight down on the body, and your sleeves are lace as well, so they go quite quick. You can see there, you can see my arm poking through, so you've got basically a version of this lace on there. It would work as a t-shirt. You could just bind off there and you could just do that. It would work as that. I've seen a couple of people do long sleeve versions as well. It's quite versatile. There's no decreases or anything in the sleeve, so you don't get wider, but because you don't decrease down either, you get this sort of little bit of a bell sleeve. I haven't found I've worn this massively. There's a couple of reasons for that. So first off, just after I finished it, we went on holiday. I think I mentioned we were going on holiday, and it was a very hot holiday, and I was intending to take it with me. But I didn't, and I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad I didn't, because I wouldn't have worn it. It would have been too thick and too heavy. It's not super thick and heavy, but for where we were, it was 30 plus degrees every single day. It was very humid. It was tropical. This would have been too much. I haven't worn it since we've got back, because it's doing it already whilst we talk. The neckline, as I move around and as I function in the day, despite it having short rows, it rides up at the front and then it rides down at the back. You can see that. And I don't think that looks bad. You can see my tattoos on show. You know, I quite like being able to show off, particularly that one in the middle of my back is quite a large tattoo. So I quite like being able to show it off. But that isn't how this is intended to sit. It's not intended to sit so high at the front. It's intended to be a bit more like that. And it sits like that. And then as I move around and as I do it, like I say, it's done it while I've been sat here talking to you. It slips back and it goes like that. So I put it on one day. It was bothering me. I took it off. I haven't had it on since. And I'm going to leave it on for the rest of the day today. I put it on to film for you. I'm going to leave it on for the rest of the day today, see how I find it. If I can deal with it, I'm going to keep it. If I'm not, I think my mum might like it, because it's a colour that would suit her. I think it's a shape that might suit her a little bit better. I wasn't thinking while I was making it that I might make her one anyway. So even if I decide to keep it, I might get her to try it on when I see her at the weekend. And if she likes it, then I'll make her one. But yeah, really, really pretty pattern. Very well written, very easy to understand. A nice combination of all of the information you need is in there, but not super wordy. And I liked that they did... What did they do? How can I explain this? So they'll tell you how to do something. So for example, the short rows, I think it said, we use wrap and turns, but if you want to use German short rows, or you want, it just tells you can. And I think as a more experienced knitter, I know that anyway, and I think a lot of you probably do. If it says wrap and turns and I don't want to do wrap and turns, I'll just substitute in German short rows. Or if it tells me to do, I don't know, 1 by 1 rib and I don't want to do that, I think twisted would look better, I'll go and do it. But they put stuff in the pattern to say, here is where you could if you want. Whereas it's like, rather than telling you all the different options, so it's not too wordy, but also not, like I say, not telling you. So if you're a bit more inexperienced and you're a bit unsure about that, it tells you, okay, if you don't want to use this type of short row, this is how to do it, kind of thing. So it said at the end of the lace yoke, and that's the only modification I made actually. It says you finish the lace, and then it says to knit. I think for my size it was like 14 rows or something, and it actually puts a note and says, trying on. I'm really sorry about the lighting. It's the window is just there. The sun is coming in and out behind clouds, so I keep being really overexposed and then it drops off again. It basically says, if you want a shorter or deeper yoke at this point, you can stop sooner or later. So I think I only did like maybe 10. I definitely did less than 14. I can't remember how many rows I did, but I tried it on and I was like, no, that's good. I don't want any more. And you can see like my armpit's up here. I've got quite a bit of depth there. I didn't need any more. This is a nice fit, a nice easy fit. So yeah, overall very pleased. Well, overall pleased with it. I need to see if I'm actually going to wear it. And this was one of those that was just like, do you know what? I love it. I really, really loved the process of knitting it. It was super quick. I could get this done in a week, honestly. I think it only took me like 2.5. It's large needles. It's really satisfying. It's fun to knit. It would very definitely make a nice winter version. I would probably do it with long sleeves without the lace on, just do some straight or tapered sleeves. And maybe a bit of ribbing to change the neckline. But yeah, I think it would make a really nice winter version. But yes, currently not so sure how much wear I'm going to get out of it. So we'll see. And it's maybe a learning curve for me, a lesson to have learned for me. The next thing I wanted to show you, I wanted to put on my sock blocker, but I don't know where my sock blocker is. So this is going to look a little bit strange. This is a half finished object. This is completely, you've never seen anything to do with this. And I haven't woven my ends in because I haven't blocked it. So here we are. Look how fun and sparkly. So it was my birthday just before we went away, back end of May. And one of my friends, Mona, who you may follow on Instagram as Get Your Knits Out. She's also on TikTok. She's got I think she's got a fairly large following on TikTok. Comparatively to me, who has 0 followers because I don't do anything on TikTok. She bought me a sock set from Copper, Kettle, Yarn and Fibre Co. Yarn and Bags Co. I'll put the name on the screen because the full name I can never remember. And it's Scooby-Doo. It's Scooby-Doo. The Copper Kettle does some beautiful yarns. I've got some hopefully arriving in the next couple of days. Actually, I treated myself to some for my birthday because she does the Zodiac Club, and I'm not really. I mean, one of you's commented before on the fact that I've got a tarot kit up here. I'm not super into Zodiac and stuff like that. I don't really believe it, but I find it quite fun. So I got one, with it being a birthday thing, I got one that was linked to my star sign, which is Gemini. If you believe in that thing, tell me if it fits with me or not. I feel like in some ways it probably does. But why am I saying that? Yeah, so she does some beautiful yarns, but what she does, I think she does really, really well is self-striping, and this is one of her self-striping sock sets. So this is the Scooby-Doo set it's from a club, and I think I'll put the name on the screen if I can find it. And it just is, isn't it? Every time I'm sitting here knitting on it with the Scooby-Doo theme tune in my head, it just is. The colours are incredible and the striping is incredible. You can't see really any variation in it. It was so fun to knit. I took these on holiday with us. I wound them up and I didn't do anything else. So I cast on the plane and I got down to, I think I got all the way down to the heel on the plane. I got through it. On the plane journey on the way out, I did the cuff, I did all of the leg, and I've done a fairly long leg actually. Usually I would cut it off about here, but I decided to keep going. I've done a heel flap and gusset. These are just 72 stitch vanilla socks on 2.5mm small circulars. I didn't follow a pattern. I've just used my own recipe that I know fits me. I got all the way through the heel flap and turn. I picked up for the gusset and I was well through the decreases. I don't think I'd finished the decreases, but I was considerably into them by the time we got off that plane. And then I didn't knit on them on the way back, but I finished them in meetings when we came home. So it's this beautiful self-striping main yarn with this really lovely grey as the sort of mini that goes with it, and the grey matches this grey stripe. So what I basically did was when it came to do the heel, I made sure I ended on a grey stripe, and then I knit the heel, and then I wound off that grey stripe in the yarn, so it looks like my grey stripe has created my heel. I didn't manage it like that at the end, and I probably should have, but this is a really nice fit on my foot. So you can see there at the end I've got a blue, a grey stripe, a green, and then I've gone into the grey for the toe, and really what I could have done with doing is stopping at that grey stripe again. It would have looked a bit better, but it doesn't really take away from it at all. And at the top, I didn't intend it to work like this at the top, but I finished the cuff, which I've just done 2x2 rib, and then the first colour after that on my main colour was grey, so it's gone straight into the grey. So really, to have ended it out the same way, I should have done grey at the bottom, but you know, it's a sock, it doesn't matter. This is on the sparkle base as well, and I don't know if you can see that. It's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. I'm a little bit nervous about blocking it because I did notice while I was knitting it, particularly if I was a little bit sweaty, I was getting a little bit of colour come off my hands, particularly just from the grey, I think, or the blue. I thought it was the grey, but it didn't come off the mini. So it was maybe the blue or maybe the black, actually. And I was just getting a little bit of dye transfer on my finger. So I'm a little bit nervous about blocking it because I think some dye is probably going to come out. But yeah, beautiful yarns. I've never knit with anything from her before, from Lainey's Yarns, and I can so highly recommend it. It's beautifully soft. I think it feels similar to the Wild Pearl Yarns sock base, which is an 85-15, and I can't remember if this was, but beautiful, beautiful colours. She's got so much on her website. She offers such a massive range. Like I think she's done like 5 or 6 different Advent themes this year that you can pick from. She's got treat boxes. She's got Halloween boxes. She's got all sorts. I've ordered one of her Halloween boxes as well. And I know one of my friends, Mona again, has ordered her Advent this year, one of her Advents, because it's Polar Express, and that I think is going to be absolutely stunning. So highly recommend going and checking her yarns out, and I will be showing you what comes when my Zodiac box arrives. You never know, it might arrive while I'm filming, and we'll see. I'll show you it there and then if it does. But yeah, half finished object, 72 stitches, 2.5mm needles, small circulars, heel flap and gusset, just a complete vanilla sock. I like to do a vanilla sock with self-striping sock yarn, and this is beautiful. So that is my finished and half finished object. And now I've got a lot of whips to talk to you about. I'm going to mention one first off. I'm not going to show it, but I am still working on the Wild Pearl sample shawl, which is the Handpicked shawl by, every time. Florence Spurling Studios. I think that's the name. The designer's name is Florence Spurling. I'll pop a picture on screen of the shawl, and I'll link to the pattern below. Once it's finished, I'm going to show you the actual finished thing. I'm loving working on that. I've got to focus on it. There's basically blocks you'll be able to see on the pattern. There's blocks of stockinette, and I can work on them in meetings and things. But the flower pattern, I have to pay attention to, and I really do, because when I'm doing those wraps, I have to keep it loose. Otherwise, I find it really hard to get it back up on the needles. But working away on that, probably about 3/4 of the way through that. So I'm going to have that finished and back to Lauren shortly, and then I'll be able to show you guys as well. Okay, one whip I have shown you before, but hasn't made an appearance on the podcast for a bit, and hopefully next time. I think this is the last time you'll see it as a whip. No, I know, I'm saying it, I'm putting it out in the world. This is the last time you'll see it as a whip. This is Tunisian crochet. So this is my Trellis cardigan test knit for Just the Worsted, who is, I've completely forgotten her name. Who is a Tunisian crochet designer. I believe she's American, but she's based in Seoul in Korea. This is a Tunisian crochet cardigan with this beautiful, beautiful textured stitch. You can probably see a bit better if I hold it away from the rest of itself. It's bottom up, crocheted in panels, and this is my body. So I finished, I think when I showed you it before, I was working up the back panel, which is what you start with. And then I mentioned that I was part way up my first front, second front. I finished both fronts. I've seamed at the top. I've finished one sleeve, and I'm working on my second sleeve now. Mistakes have been made. Mistakes have been made. By me, not by the designer. First off, I read the pattern wrong. And when I came to seam, so you notice there I've seamed my top, my fronts and my back together, but you can see there my seam's visible. It was mattress stitch, and I should have done it the other way around. I just didn't read until I'd finished the second side. And I just thought, do you know what? Because I've done it on both sides, I'm just going to call it a design feature and go with it. I'm perfectly happy with that. You're not going to see it much because it's going to be on the tops as well. And then the other mistake, you'll notice all of this is all in the same colour. This also in the same colour. Spot the difference. Spot the difference when I show you the bit that I'm working on. Not the same colour. So I thought I had enough. This is one of the things with test knit sometimes is the yardage. That's part of what you're testing for the designer is the yardage. I've not added any length or anything to pattern. I'm making this in Stylecraft Recreate in the shade, I think it was Grey Smoke is the shade, and this is all I've got left of that. Once I'd finished my first sleeve, I went and weighed how much this weighed, and I weighed what I had left, and I think this weighed like 90 grams and I had 50 grams left, so I had nowhere near enough. And I thought I could buy another ball, but it's quite close to the end of the test, so I'd be pushing it for time a little bit, although I think I probably would be able to get it done because it's quite quick. But also I didn't really want to buy more yarn. I wanted to use up what I had in stash. I didn't want to just keep having to add to it. So I didn't, but I do have some other colours of Stylecraft Recreate in my stash. And I don't know the name of this colour because I didn't have the bowl band anymore, but I'll see if I can find it online and put it on the screen. And I decided I'm just going to do a colour block, basically, of this. Between the two of these, I've got 100 grams of yarn. So I've got enough to complete the whole thing, the whole sleeve. What I might do after the fact is come back and redo this sleeve and put another colour block of a different colour in the top of this to make them to make it not just be one sleeve that's got a colour block. Because I've got some pink as well, so I could do a purple colour block on one sleeve, a pink colour block on the other sleeve. Buy them. And we can, it then at least looks intentional, not like I've run out of yarn. But what I'm doing, essentially the way the sleeves are done, and I'm holding this to be able to show you, is you crochet a big flat panel rather than doing it in the round, and then you join the bottom edges of that panel. This needs blocking, which is why it's sitting a bit weird. This is going to be the underarm of my sleeve, the underneath of my sleeve, and that's going to be the top, so it's going to essentially go like that around my arm, but a bit neater. So what I've done is I've started at the bottom with the grey. I've done, I think it was like 48 rows I had to do, something like that. So I've done, and I've got enough therefore to do half in the grey, half in the purple, because I've got about 50 grams of each. So I've got 100 grams total. Yeah, I've got enough to do half and half basically. So I've done 12 rows of the grey. Then I've changed to the purple. I'm going to do 24 rows of the purple, and then basically it's going to be on the black side coming back down this way. I'm going to do 12 more rows of the grey. So it should use up all of the grey, all of the purple. I've got a little bit more grey left upstairs. We're talking like a tiny little nugget, but it'll probably be about the right amount to seam everything together. And if not, I've got all the grey yarns I could use to seam together. And then, yeah, like I say, I'm probably going to come back at some point and do a colour block on the other sleeve. I've really, really enjoyed working on this. It's very satisfying. It is somewhere between crochet and knitting. You use a hook, but you use a very long hook. So essentially it looks like a crochet hook, but you use a very long hook, or you use one with a cable on. I've gone back to, on the sleeves, I've gone back to a fixed one because I prefer these a little bit. I find these a little bit easier to use. I had a Knit Pro hook attached to one of my cables. I was just finding, I found I broke the cable because where I was holding it, I was putting so much pressure on the cable that I've essentially snapped it off. But I went back to this and it's fine. And because essentially what you do is you work along, if you've not done Tunisian crochet before, you start at one end. I'm trying to do this back to front. Your yarn's joined at this end and you start at this end and you go along and you pick up loops along your work, and then you work back, but you pick up loops. And rather than like in crochet, you would work that loop and then move on to the next one. In Tunisian crochet, you keep those loops on your hook and you come back and work them all at the end on your return pass. So it is somewhere between the two. Very satisfying, and I really like this yarn. When you block Stylecraft Recreate, it transforms. It's absolutely beautiful. I was thinking I was going to do a bit of a mini review on it at some point because I really, really rate this yarn. It's really nice. So that's the first whip, Trellis cardigan. Like I say, next time we talk, which I'm hoping will be next week, this will be done and seamed, and I'll be able to show you it. But very much recommend Just the Worsted patterns as well. She's got quite a lot of Tunisian crochet, but she does have some crochet as well. She's got quite a presence on Instagram. She sells all her patterns on Etsy, and I'll link everything down below. But her writing style is really, really good. So this pattern is, I think it's said to be an intermediate. I think she said it was an intermediate. And I'm obviously a complete beginner with Tunisian crochet, but me being me was like, I'll try that. I can do that. That sounds great. And the thing is, I've been fine because the instructions are absolutely great, and she's got a full video tutorial for it as well. So if you're unsure about Tunisian crochet, but you want to give it a go, she's really, really good. Lindsay, her name is Lindsay. Lindsay's patterns are a really good place to start to get into it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, Oh, I've got lots more to show you. I've got lots more to show you. The rest then I think is all whips that you haven't seen. So let me have a drink and we'll get into them. Let me show you this one first. So you've not seen any of the, I'm going to stop saying you've not seen them, because now from now on you've not seen any of these. This one I had a lot of fun working on. So I took this on holiday with us. This was the one project I took on holiday with us other than the socks. I didn't work on it. I'd cast on. It's bottom up. So start from the beginning. This is the Oolong Tee by Aimee Sher, which is in testing. This is a test currently. You probably come across the Oolong tank like I had. So these are a range of patterns, say tank, and then this is going to be a tee that are, I believe the tank's bottom up as well. The idea is that it's a summer garment, mostly stockinette with some ribbon details at the bottom like we always have, but with this beautiful lace panel. And then once you get to, so I'm essentially about here at the moment, I'm about to work some bust darts. These lace panels come up and they split and they go around here. And I really, really like the lace. I always really liked the lace on the Oolong tank, but the tank is not a style that I would wear very much. It's just not something that would suit me, that I would reach for. When she did the test call for the tee though, I was instantly, yes, oh my God, I want to knit that. And I was really pleased to be selected. Look how gorgeous that lace is. It's really hard to show you because it's knitting it in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, so it's so drapey. But I also, until I started knitting it, I don't think I'd ever realised that they're like oolong leaves. It's leaves going up the front. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And what makes this even more special is you may recognise this colour if you've been here a while. I am using my leftover wedding dress yarn. So when we got married back in October last year, I, like an absolute mad woman, knit my own wedding dress, and I knit it out of Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the shade Copper, which is what this is. It was the Melides dress by Inez of Vernet, and I had 4 balls left. So that gives me 1,000 meters, so I should be okay. I have ordered an extra ball, 1 extra ball, just because I was close anyway. And then I was adding bust darts, and then I had to add some length because the body length was going to be a bit short. So I decided to be on the safe side and order 1 additional ball, which has arrived and I'm good to go. But I think I should be all right. It means I can definitely, you know, I've added quite a bit of length to the body, but it means I'm definitely going to have enough. I'm just so much enjoying this. It's bottom up, so the ribbon was arduous, let me tell you that. It's quite deep ribbon. I don't know if you can see that. I think it's about 2.5-3 inches, something like that, and it's really quite arduous. But once I got into the lace is beautiful. I can't memorise it at all in the slightest. I have to refer to the chart on every single time I come round to do a lace round, but it's really well written. I've never knit one of Aimee's patterns before, but they are obviously quite highly recommended, and I can completely see why, having now knit one. Knitting for Olive Pure Silk was a perfect choice for it. I'm very happy with that. I'm pretty certain size E, and I had 3.5mm needles to get gauge. You can just see that drape. Oh, it's so beautiful. This is due on, I think, like the 11th of July, but I'm really confident I'm going to be able to get that done. Most of the body is done. I need to do a few more rows, and then I do my bust darts, and then essentially I do a little bit of flat knitting, and then I split the sleeves. And well, is it split for sleeves when you're doing it bottom up? Anyway, then I'm going to be working my sleeves, and I don't think this is going to take me that long when I get to the top. This is the arduous bit. This is the everything in the round at the bottom, but I'm pleased, really pleased with how this is turning out. And I just, yeah, I can't get over those sleeves. Beautiful. I like I say, I took this on holiday with us with just a sock, and then this was the thing that I monogamously worked on the entire time we were there, and I really quite liked that forced monogamy. If I wanted to knit, I needed to knit on this, and I'll be honest as well, because we were in the Dominican Republic, it was super hot. I couldn't have got away with anything else other than pure silk, and really even then I only knit on this when we were in the hotel room with air conditioning. But yeah, really rate the yarn like I did before. It's beautiful, and this pattern is a really lovely use for it. Again, I'm hoping that when we speak next time, I don't think it'll be done, but I think it'll be progressed quite a lot, and I can't wait to wear this. I think it's going to be gorgeous. So that's the Oolong Tee. Put that back in there before I forget it. And then we've got some not so summer appropriate things. Not so summer appropriate. I'm starting to move into non-summer things. So I've got this one I'm keeping in my tote bag that I got from East Anglia Yarn Festival. This is not summer appropriate. This has been a challenge to knit on sometimes. but it's absolutely gorgeous. So this is another test. I think it's everything. No, not everything's tests. There's a couple that aren't tests, but I'm doing a lot of tests at the moment. And I meant to say at the beginning, but I completely forgot. This is not everything that I'm working on. These are the main things that I'm working on at the moment. I have a lot of things going on at the moment. I've got a couple of secret tests. I've got, yeah, lots of stuff. But these are the things that I'm mainly working on at the moment. This is another test. This is for Liv Ulven. And this is quite a simple top-down stockinette raglan v-neck cardigan with a double knit button band that I've got to go back and add afterwards. It's really quite simple. I'll pop a picture on screen because it's probably going to show it better than I can. But I thought it would be super wearable, and her sample was knit in 2 strands of Nutiden, which is what I'm using. I'm holding Nutiden double. I can't remember the name of this colour, but I've got 600 grams of it in stash that I got last year. I think I showed it when I got it. And the colour is just incredible. It's really hard to capture on camera. It's like a purpley, bluey, royal colour. That's quite good. It's absolutely gorgeous, and this suits me really well. I have been flying on this. So we came back from holiday about 2 weeks ago. I had cast this on at that point, but I came back and I realised I had absolutely no clue where I was. I hadn't made any notes. I couldn't remember at all where I was, and I couldn't even remember what size I was knitting. So I got her to confirm. I got Liv to confirm the size. I ripped out, and I learnt you can rip out Nutiden. You've just got to be careful. And I recast on, and this is basically a week and a half's worth of work. I've done all of the yoke. I've split for the sleeves, and I've actually, you can't see very well there, but I have actually got about 1 inch of the body under the sleeves. I have to pay attention when I'm working it, just because now I'm just on knitting flat back and forth, so really I don't need to pay attention in terms of what I'm knitting. But with the Nutiden, because it's unspun, it's so easy to break it, so it forces me to slow down and be a little bit more present when I'm working on it, and I like that quite a lot. I'm a bit nervous about doing a button band in Nutiden, because I tend to hold quite a lot of tension when I'm doing double knit. So that I'm really going to have to be mindful of. But yeah, you can see there it's got a nice raglan detail running down the front. It's just a really simple V-neck raglan, but it's beautiful. It's very wearable. I need some buttons to go on this. I don't know what I'm going to go for with this. And yeah, it's just gorgeous. I can't wait I'll get so much wear out of this in winter. Again, I think I'm making size 4 in this. It's quite an oversized one, so I'm making size 4. I need to finish the body, do the sleeves, come back and do the button band, and then I'm done. But yeah, really enjoying this. This is basically, there's a couple more balls in there, but it's the end of my first 2 plates, and I've got 4 more plates, so I've got plenty of yarn to finish this, and I'd like to basically maximise what I've got. But yeah, really loving this, and really excited to work on it. There are a couple of testers, in fact there's more than a couple, there's quite a big test group, and a few of the testers are doing it in non-unspun yarn, so it will lend itself to that as well. I didn't say it's 4.5mm needles, and I'm sure it's like a 19 stitch gauge again. So there is a lot of alternatives that would work at that gauge. I'll show you the one last test knit, and then I'm going to show you 2 things that aren't test knits. I think that's the best way to do it. This one I've just started working on. It's one of my least urgent test knits, but it's so beautiful. I really wanted to show you it. I've got it in this really cool little bag that my mum usually, when they go away to France and stuff, they've got a motorhome, they go travelling around Europe, and she comes back and she brings me loads of food and snacks and things, and she puts it in an interesting bag, and this is the one from this time. I've got no idea if this is a place or what, but it's got a cool dragon on the front, so it's in here. This is a test of the Chalcot cardigan for Coco More Knitwear, who is Cheryl Mokhtari. And I just had to show you this for the colour. Just look, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I'm just going to bring it close and shut up for a minute. It's so beautiful. This is like the Barbie cardigan of dreams, isn't it? So this is is it drop shoulder? I don't know whether it's drop shoulder. I mean, I'm working on a back panel at the moment, so that suggests to me that it might be like a saddle shoulder. I'll put some details on screen. It's a test knit. It's a fisherman's rib cardigan. It's oversized. It's chunky. It's beautiful. This is DK plus mohair, and I'm so happy with my colour choice for this. It's 5mm needles. Yeah, I'm on 5mm needles to get gauge. So what I'm using is Drops Fiesta, which is I say new, it's not new anymore. It was new. I think it's now been out for probably about a year. It's the DK weight sock yarn. So this is 75% wool, 25% polyamide. It suggests 4mm needles and 10 by 10. Your gauge swatch is 21 stitches to 4 inches. This is the shade Rainbow Sprinkles, I'm pretty certain. And it's beautiful. And I had this mohair in stash that I'd got. This was actually the mohair I'd got to hold with some fingering weight to go with this, to make this initially. And it went really nicely with that fingering weight, but I just decided I wanted a DK weight to go with it, and I thought this would be perfect. So this is Drops Kid Silk Haze in the shade Light Lavender, and together they go really well. It just sort of mutes it a little bit, and it gives it a bit of a fuzz without it being too much. And I'm so happy with how this is knitted up. This hasn't taken me long at all to do this bit. It works up very quickly. It's super stretchy, super squishy. Again, I can't wait to have this and wear this. This is going to be so fun and joyful. And if I've been feeling a bit crap at the moment, we're going to touch on that at the end. And one of the things I love to do when I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself and I'm feeling a bit poorly is to pick up some knitwear, handmade knitwear, and make myself feel better. And what's going to make you feel more joyful than this? There isn't much. It's so good. I'm so pleased with this. So this isn't due till like August time, but I had to show you because I am so pleased with this. I was unsure what buttons to pick. I really like this side as well. I believe this is actually technically the right side, but in the pattern she has that the wrong side, and this is your right side. But it just, yeah, Rainbow Sprinkles is absolutely the perfect name for it. And I'm half tempted to, I was thinking of doing like a Rainbow Sprinkles cowl. So you don't have to use this yarn, but you could do like anything like this. Just something that's fun and whimsical and bright and colourful and speckled, and push yourself to, because this isn't something I would normally reach for, but I'm going to wear this loads. What was I talking about before that? I was saying something, wasn't I? I wasn't sure what buttons to pick. I'm going to need to pick some buttons, and my friend Leah of the Ruby and Pearls podcast recommended getting some of those like plastic buttons that have confetti inside them, like sprinkles, and I think, yeah, I'm going to proper lean into the little kid vibes with this one. Knitting size 7 in this one. First time knitting a Cheryl Mokhtari pattern, again, exceptionally well written, really enjoying it. So that's that one. So they're all the test knits that I want to show you at the moment. I have many more than that, let's be honest. I have a couple of secret test knits that I can't show you, and I've got some upcoming stuff that I'm going to cast on as well. But I have 2 completely non-deadline fun whips. I'm going to show you the crochet one first, and then I'll show you the other one because the other one's got a bit more story to it. So my husband saw a TikTok the other day, and I'll see if I can pop it on screen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. But it was from about a year ago, and it was this designer sharing. She was doing the big roll down and reveal of a crochet blanket that she'd made, and he went, I want one of them. I want one of them. And he kept coming back to her over the next few days. And I managed to find the blanket, and I managed to find that on Wool Warehouse there were colour packs for the blanket, but they weren't in the colours that he wanted. He wanted it all in blues and whites. It's one of those crochet mandala blankets, so it's not a small investment of time or anything, but I was able to find some colours, and I cast on whatever it is when you crochet, and I haven't been able to put it down. It's so good. This is just like the central piece, so there's a massive section of white, then there's another big blue section, then there's some more white, then there's this is going to be a huge blanket, but it's so stunning, and it's so intricate. Let me just show you. It's so intricate, and I'm really happy with the colours. They really match what she'd done and what he wanted. So this is the Sacred Space blanket. It was originally a crochet along several years ago, I think probably 10 something like that years ago, by Crystals and Crochet is the creator, and she does loads of blankets like this. There are 2 yarn packs on Wool Warehouse, like I say, but one of them's all pinks and the other one's sort of much more mixed colours, and he didn't want those. He wanted it in blues, I guess like Delft pattern. And I was able to pick some colours of Stylecraft Special DK to make this. So now I've got to try and remember the names. So the cream is cream. The cream's nice and easy. The dark blue is French Navy. We've got 2 shades of blue here. So this really light one is Cloud Blue. The darker one, which is probably clearer here, is Denim Blue. And then the greeny blue is called Duck Egg. They're all here. Actually, I can show you a bit better. So cream, Denim Blue with my hook attached. Duck Egg, Cloud Blue, and French Navy. So that's my colour palette. Oops. That's my colour palette altogether. I haven't wanted to put this down. I've just wanted to keep working on it. Even looking at it now, I'm like, oh, I could just put a couple of stitches in because I'm on this white row. I could just put a couple of stitches in. I haven't been able to find the written pattern. I think it is there somewhere. It was a crochet along and it was for free on her blog. She's got loads of patterns like that on her blog, but there is a free video tutorial and that's what I've been following, and that's worked really well because some of these, as you can see, it is very intricate. There's all sorts of interesting stitches. So it's really good to follow the video to be able to see where you're placing your next stitch. But yeah, I'm so happy with this. I'm so happy with this. It's beautiful. So I'll keep updating you on that. That's the one thing that, like, I've got loads of deadline projects. I should be working on those, but I want to work on that. I keep wanting to pick that up and wanting to do some more on it, and that's all I want to work on. And then the last one I wanted to show you, there is a bit more to talk about. So I have talked a few times about wanting to do a series this year where I knit the same pattern multiple times in different fibres to do a real deep dive and to really be able to show and to experiment for myself on how different fibres are going to affect the finished garment, to help with substitution, to help with knowing, you know, to get in the knitwear that you want at the end, to I guess enable me and everybody as well that watches, if you want to be able to look at a pattern and go, okay, I like that, but I'd like it better in this. I would wear it more if it was in this kind of fibre. And I mentioned this last year, and I mentioned it again earlier in the year, and I just haven't got around to doing it because I couldn't settle on a pattern. I kept to-ing and fro-ing. I couldn't pick the right pattern. And you know when you start to get into your head about, if it's not perfect, I don't want to do it. And I was getting like that. So I just thought in the end, you know what, I'm going to crowdsource. I'm going to ask for all your opinions. And I settled in the end on a t-shirt that I wanted to do because it's quicker, it's easier, sort of also a bit more wearable. I can make one a long sleeve if I want to make it a bit, you know, a bit more wearable in certain fibres. And you may have seen, you may have voted last week before, something like that. It was last week. I put some stuff up on my Instagram, basically. I did a poll. So I did 2 rounds I picked 8 different designs, all of which were things that either I've made or I want to make. So they were chosen by me in the first place, but there was 2 rounds with 4 each on each post, and you had to pick your favourite from each one, and then the favourite from each one of those went to a head, and the winner is the one that I've chosen to do. So it was very close run. There was a pattern in there from, let's see if I can remember this, Anina Uti, Celine Phaeton. That's a good start, isn't it? Sophie Hemmings, who is the Knit Pearl girl. Iris Hardege, who is Iris Makes. The Ranunculus, so Midori Hirose. Athena Liu. What were the other 2? I can't remember. There was 2 other patterns in there. I can't remember what they were. Anyway. There were 2 very strong winners. Okay. So on the first slide, the Amelia Tee by Iris of Iris Makes it blew the competition away. And on the second slide, the Ranunculus was a very, very strong competitor. And I was expecting the Ranunculus to be. I didn't. The Amelia caught me by surprise. So I put those 2 head to head, and that was tight all day. But I had probably the most engagement I've ever had on a poll on Instagram. So thank you if you did. So I guess this means you're interested in it as well. But it was tight all day, and in the end, the Amelia won, which I was quite pleased about in many ways because I love the Ranunculus. I really do love the Ranunculus, but I was really pleased that a smaller designer that I genuinely love beat out the Ranunculus. I was so pleased with that. I had a bit of a chat with Iris about it afterwards. So it's the Amelia that I'm going to be making, and I've cast on my first one. So this is a really interesting construction. I have not picked the right yarn for this one for the first one. You can sort of see. So you start with your back panel and you do some instruction increases, and then essentially you put that on hold. You come back and you pick up some little, you're really not going to be able to see, I might have to show you this better when I've got a different colour. You create like a little band here and here, which are your fronts, your shoulders. And then you pick up from here all the way around. You put these stitches back on the needles as well, and you pick up some stitches here in between, and then you start increasing out. And I don't know if that's classed as contiguous construction or what, but it's a really interesting construction. It's quite a loose gauge. It's DK weight yarn, all yarns held together, but at a 1916 stitch gauge, something like that. It's really quite loose. You can always see there, if I stretch it, you can see through, you can see me through it a little bit. So I think it's an interesting one to show different fibres and things and what effects you can get. One of her samples is in Sanisgan Lena. So clearly you can use a yarn like this, but this is, the other one is in, I think it's in some sort of cashmere, which this isn't. This isn't yet. Maybe one day I'll spring for that. Maybe I'll do a sample. If this series is popular, maybe I'll spring for the cashmere. But for my size, it's well over £100 for a cashmere tee. So we'll see. But yeah, this is where we're at with it, and you can see through it a little bit. But one of her samples is in black in the cashmere, and it's this sort of brushed looking stuff. And I really wanted one like that, and I had some yarn in stash that I thought would make a really good first sample of it. So this is what I'm using. Tangled as anything. This is Drops Alpaca. You can see there is so much drape to it. And this is Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. So these were both gifted to me by one of my friends. I need to get a little bit more because there's not quite enough to do it, but it's going to get most of it for me. So this is in the shade, I think it's just in the shade dark grey, and then the alpaca silk is in the shade black. And they're creating this really nice sort of mild fabric. I'm filming the process of doing this. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be making multiple of these. I do also have, really excitingly, I need to explain this a bit. I am now an affiliate for Iris of Iris Makes. I'm not being paid to talk about it. And I wasn't an affiliate when I put it up on the poll. I had applied for her influencer program, her affiliate program, but we hadn't heard anything back. And I have tested it for Iris 4 times. I've tested it for Iris 4 times in the past. So I have been a really big fan of her designs before applying for the affiliate program, and I applied for the affiliate partly because I'm such a fan of her designs and I really want to encourage more people to try them because I think they're fab. So I'll put the results up on the screen to show that the Amelia one fair and square, I didn't influence that in any way. When I put it up on the poll, it was just a pattern that I really wanted to knit. And then about 3, 4, 5 days later, I got an email from Iris's assistant saying I'd been accepted onto the affiliate program. So now I have an affiliate code to be able to share with you guys, which means that you get 10% off. I'm pretty certain. I'll double check and I'll put it on screen and I'll put the code and everything. You get 10% off any of Iris's patterns. I get a small kickback from that. You don't have to use that if you don't want to, but if you do, it gets you a discount. It gives me a bit of money back as well, which is nice to have. But even if you don't use my code, I would so highly recommend you go and look at Iris's patterns. And that was why I wanted to be on the affiliate program. That was why I considered applying for it, because I really genuinely love that. I'm sure plenty of designers and people have things like this, and I haven't applied for them. There's a hobby shop not that far from me that sells a lot of yarn, and they have an affiliate program, and I haven't applied for it because I've never ordered from them. I don't really like what they do. They do some nice yarns, but the way that their website is conducted and stuff, it just doesn't quite sit right with me, and I'm not entirely convinced it's not drop shipping. Anyway, that's another topic. I am picky about the ones that I'm going to pick, and I realise it looks like really weird timing that I've become an affiliate for Iris just after this has won, but I swear you all voted for this. It does help though that, you know, when I'm going to be banging on about the Amelia for ages, because I'm going to be knitting multiple of these, at least 4, probably more like 6, you can all go get a discount, which is nice. But yeah, this is where we're at. This is basically just the back. That's really not visible, is it, with my hair? And I wanted to talk about this because this is going to be the first in the series. I want to knit next probably a summer one. And then, yeah, lots of ideas. I'm going to do one in blown yarn. I'm going to do one in a plant-based yarn. I want to do one in 100% wool. I'd say maybe a cashmere. I want to do one in acrylic. I've got some acrylic in mind that I want to use for this, so we can look at the differences. And then I could even go further into it, depending on how I find it and everything, and how wearable these are for me afterwards as well, because it's the end of the day, I'm making lots of garments for my wardrobe. I thought I could even do like a cotton merino blend. You could do a cotton acrylic blend, things like that. Look at some variations and blends and how they're going to work. So maybe we continue the deep dive into next year, but we're off. We're finally off and going, and I'm going to show you as I progress through it. And then I'm going to create the series. I think that's everything I wanted to talk to you about today. I say that like it's not much. There's absolutely loads there. And I'm surprised that I've managed to get that under an hour, which probably means that I've waffled. But I was quite careful about what projects I wanted to talk to you about. Like I say, I've got all the stuff that I'm working on. These are the main things that I'm focusing on and that are taking most of my time. But I am flitting on other things. I flit a lot, it's what I do. And there are a couple of things that I can't show you, they're secret. I can show you when they are released, and I will, but at the moment when I'm working on them, I'd be nice not to because they're secret test knits. So there is a couple of things that I can't show you, but that's everything. I'm so sorry it's been a while. If you wanted, I'm going to give a bit of a life update, like I say. If you don't want to hear the life update, if you're good, that's absolutely fine. No hard feelings, I will let you drop out. If you want to know where I've been and why the fuck have you not been back sooner, stay on. So, it's not a huge life update. I just wanted to explain where I've been. I know a couple of you've reached out and said, am I okay and what's going on? So I wanted to update you all and to reassure you that I'm not losing, I'm coming back to YouTube. I haven't gone anywhere. So a few things just aligned, basically. Obviously, I mentioned before I've changed my job. My job is busy at the moment. I love my job, but it is busy. It takes up a lot more of my time during the day. So we went on holiday, like I said, and that was essentially our honeymoon. It was delayed. We had a short break after we got married. We had a little mini moon and we went to Lisbon, which was wonderful. But then we did a proper holiday, which was all inclusive to the Dominican Republic, which was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. We were there for 10 days. We were off work for 2 weeks, basically, the majority of it. So for 2 weeks, I really wasn't in this space at all. I took some knitting with me, like I say, but very small amount. And I was just checked off from everything. I was a little bit active on social media, but I didn't do much. And it was wonderful. It was so nice to rest and recover and relax and everything. What basically happened was we came back from holiday. I'd been feeling tired before we went away. I'd been probably for about the last 8 or 9 months, I'd been feeling quite tired, but that's coincided with some medication that I've been on. And that is a potential side effect of this medication, is fatigue, is tiredness, is brain fog. So I just sort of thought nothing of it. I thought it is what it is. I'm just going to have to deal with it. And I think what's basically happened is like the boiling frog analogy. It's got worse and worse over time, but it's got worse and worse so gradually over that period of time that I hadn't realised quite how bad it was and quite how much it was impacting me until we went away on holiday. And because it was all inclusive, we did nothing other than the dogs just kicked the tripod. I'm so sorry about that. Kicked the tripod and then lied on my knitting again. Basically when we were on holiday, we woke up, we went to the buffet, we then went to the pool or the beach, and we sat and we read and we knitted and we swam and we drank and we ate, and it was wonderful, and we didn't do really anything other than that except for one excursion that we went out on. So I had no work stress, no work taking my energy, no other demands on my energy, no chores like taking the dogs out and things. And when we came back, I realised, obviously we came back and pretty much, not straight away, but we went back into dogs, we went back into work, we went back into chores around the house, and it hit me like a ton of bricks how tired I was. I was so tired, and it was to the point where I was struggling to get up in the morning, sleeping really well, like sleeping 8-9+ hours a night, all the way through, really good quality sleep, waking up in the morning absolutely exhausted, finishing work, tired during work, particularly in the afternoon, having a bit of a slump in the afternoon, and then finishing work and honestly having the energy to do not much more than sit and doom scroll on the sofa and trying really hard not to fall asleep. So that combined with one of my friends went to the doctor having had something similar, and they found iron deficiency, put her on some iron tablets, she felt better. So I thought, you know what, I should just go. I need to go, and this is not normal anymore. I need to go and speak to somebody about this. And all's good. It's really minor stuff. It's really minor stuff. They found they're still doing some tests. I've got a hospital appointment tomorrow. They're still doing some tests, but they found a folate deficiency, folic acid deficiency, which I didn't think was anything to do with anything other than pregnancy, but apparently it's to do with your energy as well, and it causes folic acid anemia if you don't have enough of it. Hence why I am tired. So they've put me on some tablets. They are starting to have some sort of an effect. It's not been huge yet. It's a supplement. It takes a long time to get into your system. But yeah, the reason I wanted to mention that is because that's the reason why I've not been back. And I was just, there was no way I had the energy for anything. Honestly, it was touch and go getting up and functioning at work on a day, never mind finishing that and then having the energy to film and to come and talk to you guys. I haven't had the energy. You'll have noticed I've been away for a long time. I've only finished one thing. I haven't really had the energy to knit as much as I would have liked either. So yeah, that's where I've been. That's why I've been. It completely took me by surprise how tired I was. And I'm really, really glad I went and checked it out. The doctors took it completely seriously. I fully thought that I'd be fobbed off. You know, it would be blamed on being overweight, or it would be blamed on, because isn't everything always blamed on being overweight? Blamed on, well, are you sure you're not on your period? That tires you out, doesn't it? Or just, you know, sleep better. Why don't you just sleep better? Turn your phone off when you go to bed. I do all of that stuff. But he took it completely seriously. They took blood tests, they took water samples, they did my blood pressure, they did my heart rate, they did all sorts of stuff. And they're going to the hospital. I'm going to the hospital to continue to do some more checks and make sure there's nothing else going on. They took it very seriously. But that's where I've been and why I haven't been back sooner. I am doing fine, honestly. I'm just tired, and it does seem, it seems minor. It was very disruptive for a bit. It was very disruptive for a bit, but it's a very minor thing. It's a first world problem, isn't it, I guess? But I'm hoping that now I've got that sorted, I'm going to be feeling better and I'm going to be able to come back more regularly. I was starting to get to the point where I was so conscious as well that I wanted to come back and film, but I just wasn't going to be able to do the quality that I wanted. And I was stressing myself out about not being able to be consistent. So I want to be, and I want to be able to be here and be back. I love coming and speaking to you guys, and I've realised how much I've missed it in the last I guess it's probably about a month since I've properly sat down and filmed. In fact, it's pretty much bang on a month. I think it might be a month today. So I've missed it. I've genuinely missed it, and I'm hoping to be able to be back more. I'm glad to be back now. I'm hoping to be back more consistently. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But that's where I've been. That's the life update. Otherwise, everything is good. Work's good. But busy but good but busy. Knitting is a lot. Knitting is a lot at the moment. I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm finding I'm getting requested for things. I'm getting requested for sample knits. I'm getting requested for test knits, and I love that. I really love that. But I've got to be better at saying no and giving a bit of balance. But yeah, lots of exciting things coming up to be able to share with you guys. Let me know if you've got any interest in that Rainbow Sprinkles Cal, if that would be something that would be fun. But otherwise, yeah, that's where I'm going to leave you. I have got a pattern roundup that I filmed and I've started editing of crochet summer patterns, free crochet summer patterns. So that's coming. It's just taken me a long time to edit. Again, energy, editing, it's hard for me to sit and do that. This is going to take priority. I'm going to sit and edit this first and make sure this comes out for you guys, hopefully before the weekend. But yeah, it's good to be here and be catching up with you guys. I will see you very soon, I hope. Thank you for your patience with me. I hope you've come back. I hope you've come back and I've not lost my subscribers completely. I hope you like what I'm working on and are excited to see what's coming up. And I will see you on the next one, guys. Bye.